A major pattern shift is happening across North America right now, and we're tracking multiple significant weather systems affecting different regions simultaneously. The massive storm that developed over the central United States has now consolidated into an intense squall line that's racing up the East Coast, while behind it, Arctic air is plunging deep into the south. But that's not all. As the eastern storm exits into the Atlantic, a powerful new Pacific system is slamming into the west coast. This is a coast-to-coast weather event with completely different threats in different regions. Let's break down what's happening and who needs to be most concerned over the next 24 to 48 hours. This is a fast-moving, high-impact situation that's going to affect tens of millions of people. Here's the big picture. That broad area of disorganized storms over the Central Plains has rapidly organized into a highly intense, continuous squall line. This is now a solid wall of severe weather sweeping from the Gulf Coast straight up through the northeast before pushing offshore into the Atlantic. The radar signatures are showing an unbroken line of intense precipitation extending from Georgia all the way to New England. This is the kind of squall line that produces widespread damaging winds and creates significant travel disruptions across entire regions. At the same time, the cold air behind this system is not messing around. A massive Arctic air mass is plunging southward in the wake of this storm, and the temperature drop is going to be dramatic. The freeze line is pushing unusually deep into Texas and the southern plains. Meanwhile, on the west coast, a completely different story is unfolding. A potent atmospheric river is striking Washington, Oregon, and Northern California. Heavy coastal rain and significant mountain snow are moving onshore right now. Let's start with the East Coast, because this is where the most immediate severe weather threat exists. The squall line is moving rapidly eastward, and it's about to impact the entire eastern seaboard in quick succession. Atlanta and Tallahassee are positioned directly in the path of the intensifying southern portion of this squall line. These cities are going to experience a brief but very intense period of severe weather. Torrential downpours, damaging straight-line winds, and severe thunderstorms are all expected. The timing for Georgia and northern Florida looks like the squall line will move through during the next few hours. This is going to be a fast-moving event, but while it's overhead, conditions will be dangerous. Heavy rainfall rates could lead to flash flooding in urban areas. As the squall line races northward, the Carolinas are next in line. Charlotte, Raleigh, and Charleston should all prepare for sudden deterioration in weather conditions. The squall line is moving at 40 to 50 miles per hour, so the window of severe weather at any one location will be relatively brief. But brief doesn't mean insignificant. The wind threat with this squall line is substantial. We're expecting sustained winds of 40 to 50 miles per hour, with gusts potentially reaching 60 to 70 miles per hour in the strongest segments. That's strong enough to bring down trees and power lines. Richmond, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and Philadelphia are all going to get hit by this system. The timing looks like late afternoon into evening for the mid-Atlantic region. The evening commute could be extremely hazardous with heavy rain and strong winds. New York City and Boston are going to see the squall line later in the evening or overnight. By the time it reaches the northeast, the system will be mature and well organized. Expect a sudden wall of heavy precipitation and gusty winds before the system quickly blows offshore. One of the characteristics of these fast-moving squall lines is how quickly conditions change. It can go from partly cloudy to torrential rain and damaging winds in just minutes. That's why having advance warning and being prepared is so critical. The aviation impacts are going to be significant. Every major airport along the East Coast from Atlanta through Boston is going to experience delays and possible ground stops as this squall line moves through. If you have travel plans, expect disruptions. Once this squall line pushes offshore into the Atlantic, it's going to create extremely dangerous marine conditions. Massive wave heights and gale-force winds are going to develop just off the coast. Any vessels in the western Atlantic need to be aware of this rapidly intensifying offshore system. Now let's talk about what's happening behind this squall line, because the Arctic air mass following this system is equally noteworthy. The temperature drop across the South and Midwest is going to be severe and rapid. Dallas and Oklahoma City have already cleared out from the precipitation, but now they're facing a flash freeze situation. Temperatures are plummeting well below freezing in the wake of the storm. Any wet surfaces are going to ice over quickly. This kind of rapid temperature drop can catch people off guard. Areas that saw rain and thunderstorms just hours ago are now dealing with freezing temperatures. Road conditions can deteriorate rapidly in these situations. The freeze line is pushing unusually far south. Even parts of South Texas could see freezing temperatures over the next couple of days. This is a concern for agriculture and infrastructure in areas that don't typically experience hard freezes this time of year. The upper Midwest is dealing with a different challenge. Minneapolis, Green Bay, and cities across Wisconsin and Michigan are on the cold backside of this departed storm. A trailing band of snow is developing, creating accumulating snowfall and icy conditions. The combination of fresh snow and rapidly dropping temperatures is creating hazardous travel conditions across the Great Lakes region. The Dakotas, Minnesota, and Wisconsin are all seeing this winter weather band develop. For those of you in these regions, you know that snow can happen in March, but the timing of this system, coming right after severe weather to your south, creates a unique set of challenges. Road crews have to deal with rain transitioning to snow on wet pavement. Eastern Canada is also taking significant impacts from this system. Ontario, Quebec, and the Maritimes are all experiencing heavy snow and mixed winter precipitation. Toronto and Montreal are both dealing with significant snowfall totals. British Columbia is getting hit from a completely different direction. The Pacific Atmospheric River is bringing heavy coastal rain and mountain snow to Western Canada. At the same time, the eastern provinces are dealing with the transcontinental storm. Now let's shift our focus to the west coast, because a powerful new storm system is making landfall right now. Seattle and Portland are facing relentless coastal rain and strong onshore winds. This Pacific system is tapping into a deep moisture source, creating an atmospheric river that's going to dump significant rainfall along the coast. Urban flooding is a concern in low-lying areas, and rivers could rise rapidly with this heavy rainfall. The Cascades and Sierra Nevada are getting hammered with heavy snow. Mountain passes are going to see snowfall measured in feet, not inches. Travel through the mountains is going to be extremely difficult, if not impossible. The coastal regions are also dealing with high surf and dangerous wave conditions. Beach erosion and coastal flooding are possible in areas exposed to the direct onshore flow. This is a significant storm for the Pacific Northwest. Northern California is in the southern edge of this system. San Francisco and areas along the Northern California coast are seeing rain as well, though the heaviest precipitation is focused further north in Oregon and Washington. The avalanche danger in the Cascades is going to increase significantly with this heavy snow load. Backcountry travelers need to be extremely cautious. This is the kind of snow event that can trigger large, destructive avalanches. Looking at the timing across all these different regions, the East Coast squall line is the most immediate threat. Over the next 6 to 12 hours, this system is going to sweep the entire eastern seaboard before pushing offshore. Behind that, the Arctic air mass is going to continue spreading south and east. By tomorrow, much of the eastern United States is going to be dealing with well below normal temperatures. The cold is going to be the story for the next several days. The Pacific system is going to persist for the next 24 to 48 hours. The Northwest is going to see continuous heavy rain and mountain snow through at least tomorrow and possibly into the weekend. This is a truly transcontinental weather pattern. We have severe weather on the East Coast, Arctic cold spreading across the central and southern plains, winter weather in the upper Midwest, and a major Pacific storm hitting the West Coast, all happening simultaneously. The temperature contrasts across the country are going to be extreme. Seattle could be 30 degrees warmer than Dallas, even though Dallas is much further south. These kinds of dramatic temperature gradients are what drive active weather patterns. Power outages are going to be a concern in multiple regions. The East Coast squall line is going to bring down trees and power lines with strong winds. The upper Midwest could see outages from heavy snow and ice. Utility crews are going to be busy across the country. Travel is going to be challenging in every region for different reasons. The East Coast has severe weather and strong winds. The Midwest has snow and ice. The West Coast has heavy rain and mountain snow. If you don't have to travel, this is a good day to stay home. One thing I want to emphasize is how quickly this East Coast squall line is moving. This is not a slow-moving, all-day rain event. This is a fast-moving wall of severe weather. When it arrives in your area, conditions will deteriorate rapidly. Make sure you have multiple ways to receive weather warnings. Have your phone charged and weather alerts enabled. Know where your safe place is if severe weather threatens. This squall line has the potential to produce tornadoes, though the primary threat is damaging straight-line winds. Behind the severe weather, prepare for a significant temperature drop. What feels mild today is going to feel like winter tomorrow across much of the eastern United States. The Arctic air is going to be a shock to the system after the recent warmth. For the west coast, this Pacific storm is going to bring beneficial moisture, but the intensity could cause problems. Make sure storm drains are clear and avoid driving through flooded areas. In the mountains, stay informed about avalanche conditions. We're going to continue monitoring all of these systems very closely over the next several days. This is a complex, multifaceted weather pattern affecting different regions with different threats. Stay tuned to local forecasts and warnings for your specific area. This is high-impact weather coast to coast. Be prepared, stay weather aware, and we'll keep you updated as these systems continue to evolve.